we'll be golden.
Right. It is an interesting, political position to have. My fellow Americans, you must eat liver and pay $8 a gallon for gasoline. Do it for the ballroom.
Yes, for the ballroom.
Yeah, well, I heard Trump saying the war is almost over. I guess those bomber jets can't afford the fuel price anyways. I wish that town pump would unconditionally surrender at the gas pump.
God, no kidding.
Yeah.
Uncle.
Well, my students were talking about the draft today at school. I have a couple 15-year-olds. They were like, we're going to get drafted. I was like, well, not for a while.
Oh, man.
And I said, but don't worry. Barron's too tall. All you have to have is bone spurs.
You know who wasn't too tall? David Robinson, the admiral. He was pretty tall.
Who's he?
He played basketball for Navy.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Spurs.
That's right.
Yeah,
Didn't they
he
put
was
him in a
he's
submarine,
world
too?
champion, yeah.
You know who's not tall?
submarine
Arian
captain?
Flint.
Yeah.
That mega grifting bootleg snowflake bitch.
He is not tall.
Right.
Everyone's
Little guy. Little guy. He's got that
all those
syndrome, I
Aryan
think.
people,
Right.
they were always really
Zinky.
They got
Did I
big
say
trucks,
Arian?
though. He's driving that Hummer around.
Zinky
looking.
quit, Danes quit, everyone's looking for new work. I heard
That's
that
my joke.
Tim Sheehy is auditioning to play the new sheriff role in the new Rambo movie.
Yep.
You're not hitchhiking through my town asking uncomfortable questions about the Iran war, are you, son?
Free what?
We have a couple former service members up here. We just want to make sure you guys aren't going to attack anybody if anything gets out of hand tonight. All right?
Yeah. We're keeping
But
an eye on
We
it.
just won't break their arm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
enough.
now they said that they want to invade Cuba. That's what Lindsey Graham was saying. But look, give Lindsey a break. The only reason he's so evil is because he's actively trying to go to hell because he thinks that's where all the gay guys hang out.
That's exactly where they go. That's where they end up. I've heard
Anyway,
Grab a drink, buckle up, and prepare to question your life choices, because we're a bunch of Montana guys trying to make sense of this madness. This is Beer Buds in the Big Sky, brought to you by the Montana Tap House, where the beer is cold and the cakes are hot. Coming to you live from the Whitefish Performing Arts Center for our first ever Roundtable. Tonight we're joined by our four friends of the pod running to represent Montana's 1st Congressional District, Ryan Busse, Russell Cleveland, Matt Raines, and Sam Forstag. And of course, the host here to deliver this madness, Mike Jopek.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you. Handsome as ever. Emily's a lucky lady.
Very lucky.
We got a great podcast for you tonight, folks, with 4 Democratic candidates running in the Western Congressional District June 2 primary election. Now that Whitefish local Ryan Zinke has checked out of the country club to spend more time at the physical therapist, his retirement has left an open seat race where the Republican polls are bloody awful. Kevin, Republicans wedged Montana between two wharves, the tariffs and a spiraling expensive economy. I'm excited to find out which one of these 4 Democrats will settle the chaos and who is most terrified that they might actually win and have to explain to Hakeem Jeffries what a Pulaski is and that Dutton Ranch is not a voting district.
Steve Quinnell.
We make a lot of fun of people up here and on the show, but we got to give credit where credit is due. Trump, originally when he ran in 2016, said he was going to drain the swamp. Well, it took him a while, but the swamp is draining. We got rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene. We got rid of Steve Daines.
Yep,
and now we got rid of Ryan Zinke.
Ryan Hennon.
Yeah, Steve, I was thinking the other day about the state of the world. It reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. Give a child a fish and he eats for a day. Bomb children on the other side of the world and you increase shareholder value and defense stocks enough to buy billionaires another yacht.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Nice little saying.
I like it.
And the ringleader of this circus, Ed Doctor.
Oh, what a time to be alive in America, the golden age, if you will. Gas is under $2. We're not in any new wars. Grocery prices haven't fallen significantly. Healthcare hasn't forced anybody into bankruptcy, and only Democrats were in the files, that's for sure. If you believe any of that, you can't be fixed because you have what is known as the incurable disease of MAGA brain rot. But for those of you that believe in the truth, the Constitution, the difference between right and wrong, and just plain common decency, you're in luck. Because 4 men in Whitefish, Montana decided to get together and create the most ill-informed political podcast in Montana or this country has ever seen. We are the Beer Buds in the Big Sky. Let's get this party started.
Let's go.
I want to thank all you guys for coming here. Suckers. Just kidding. This is going to be a real fun night. Obviously, we like to poke fun, but we're going to get serious with our candidates now. We're going to have them introducing themselves. We'll start with Mr. Busse here, and we'll go left to right.
1 minute.
One minute only. Hey, this is awesome to see everybody here. Everybody cares about making the world a better place. Fantastic to know that. I'm Ryan Busse. I live down in Kalispell, obviously just south of here. My wife, Sarah, and I have been in the Valley 31 years. I've got 2 boys. Many of you may know them, Lantern Badge. And this place, this magic place that we all love so much, is a Montana that gave us a chance. And I'm worried now that it's a Montana that's not going to give my 2 boys a chance, or many of you here, or your kids. And I'm running because I care about this place, because I think I owe it something. In fact, I know I do. I owe it to my boys and to Sarah, to all of you, to represent Montana in Washington, D.C. And the truth is, we haven't had representation for the last few years. It's about time that we have some. The billionaires and the private jet class and the Yellowstone Club folks, they got plenty of representation, but we don't have any. And I'd be honored to get the job to represent all you folks, and I really appreciate you being here and enduring these 4 Hanyaks.
Yeah.
Hanyak. What's a Hanyak?
Fake cowboy.
Look it up.
Oh, okay. All right. How do you spell that? Is that an O or an A?
All right, Russell Cleveland.
Hey everyone, Russ Cleveland. I'm a family man with 6 kids down on my ranch in St. Regis, Montana. I grew up in Stevensville. I'm a Western Montanan through and through. I left Montana originally to join the U.S. Navy post 9/11 War on Terror, and was a search and rescue swimmer, aviation electrician. After honorably discharging, I spent some time in higher finance, helping businesses, small businesses, and families with their financial needs. That inspired me to start my own business. I started a childcare business that I grew to 42 locations, taking care of 9,000 kids. Helped Colorado get universal pre-K passed down there. And it wasn't until 2020 that I realized my life calling. We lost our oldest daughter, Madison, to leukemia. Decided to move home to Montana. Life is short, and really became a healthcare advocate through that process. So my goal in this is to really fix a broken healthcare system, to tackle things like affordability, and to really ultimately get the #1 poison in the well out, and that is money in politics. And so my hope for you today is just for you to get to know me a little bit, and these other guys, obviously. We got a great cast here. I'm honored to be sitting among them. I hope we get a few minutes after to chat. But again, Russ Cleveland, I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Matt Raines.
Hey everybody, thank you for coming. This is a great event. Thank you for. Matt Raines, I'm from Sims. Family ranch goes back to the 1800s. Actually, my great-great-grandmother pioneered here in the 1860s. So needless to say, Montana is in my DNA and my roots run damn deep here. Went to West Point in the military. I flew Blackhawks, was an Army captain, and served in Iraq. So yeah, this Iran war hits me personally. Following the military service, I traveled over 60 countries doing humanitarian photojournalism. I was all over the world, mostly Africa, Middle East, and Asia. One of the biggest projects I did was the Rohingya genocide, if you guys happen to hear about that. It was in Myanmar. I was the first foreign photographer that was on site when that just kicked off. Went in there 3 times, documented the atrocities, came out, did galleries in Saudi Arabia and LA based on that work. At that point, I had a 10-year-old West Point engineering degree I figured I should probably use. And so came back to the States, took a job engineering, inspecting power plants across the country. I'd go do about $1 million worth of repair findings, hand it off to the Boilermakers, let them go fix it. And then with that, I got my MBA from Washington University, where I met my beautiful wife. And she had a horse, I had a horse ranch, convinced her to come back to Montana. So we raised horses and hay on the ranch, and then I was very fortunate the last 5 years I worked with Montana Farmers Union, chief of staff there, and we set up the first of its kind in the nation USDA meat processing facility in Havre. Montana Premium Processing Co-op. I was project lead on that, and that has allowed our local producers to retail their own livestock, which keeps them not only viable but generational. It brings a whole new revenue stream in, so really proud of that. And I mean, like I said, my roots are deep here. I had an incredible life growing up. Sims, it was a Class B school when I was there. It's dropped down to Class C. I know the struggles that our rural communities are going through.
All right, Matt.
God damn. You said 2 minutes.
This isn't a city, this is 1 minute. This isn't a city council meeting.
That's not the last time I'm going to get that.
City council meeting, they had a drug you out back.
Did you just Google buzzer?
I did.
Yeah, we're pretty smart like that.
Technology.
All right, Sam Forstag.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Hey, y'all, I'm Sam Forstag. I spent the last few months writing jokes that my sweetheart has told me I'm not allowed to tell, so this is a great venue for all that. But I spent the last 8 years working as a wildland firefighter across the state, across the West. The last 4 as a smoke jumper, best job I ever had. And I left that in large part because, well, the last couple of years I was working as a leader in my union's local, and they gutted our public lands agencies in this state over the last year or so. We lost about a quarter of the Forest Service, and the vast majority of those people were making less than 20 bucks an hour here in Montana. No different in the Park Service or the BLM, and it's the same story that it is right now when we're looking at a war with Iran that we do not need to go to, as it is when the mill closes up in Sealy or when the wood products plant closes in Missoula. It's poor and working people getting screwed while somebody is getting incredibly rich off of all of these broken systems. And I'm running for Congress here in the Western District because I am tired of having to trust that incredibly wealthy folks are going to look out for working people's best interest. And a lot of the folks that I work with, a lot of folks in my union, well, some of those people are pretty damn disillusioned with politics, and those are the people we need to reach a hand out to if we want to start winning again. So I am the first union candidate that we've had in over a decade in this state. And I hope to build a coalition of working class folks, union people, and people who still care about this Constitution. Thanks.
Mike, why don't you start out with the first question here for the boys?
Questions. We got time for questions still? I thought
No,
we
you're
already
not answering
decided
anything.
who we liked.
Did you guys bring any questions?
We have questions, yeah. We have questions. All right, so $100 million of dark money saturated Montana's election last cycle. $100 million. There's millions of dollars barreling towards June primaries in a couple of months, both on the Republican side and the Democrat side. You guys know this. You guys know what's happening. Will you take PAC money? Will you take dark money? And if so, or if not, how do you know you didn't take PAC money? And what are you going to say when PAC money, dark money, saturates these elections and either supports you or attacks your opponent? Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you. So money is a huge, and for those of you who don't know, through this last election, Senate election, you all lived through the most expensive per capita election in the history of the nation. $321 per voter was spent on that election. I think we can see how it poisoned the electorate. If you were like Sarah and I, if you got one more mailer at your house, you were going to scream probably. We had a bale of them. I'm not taking any corporate money. I'm not taking APAC money. I'm not taking, and I'm not taking any corporate money. But I want to be real clear. I've never been, this is my second campaign now, I've never been approached by any corporation to take any money. I've never been approached by a corporate PAC. Most of the, and I think all of us have a similar stance. I'll let everybody speak for themselves. But the real problem in elections isn't the contributions to the candidates. It's the outside PAC spending, because if you have a corporate PAC, you can only donate the same amount to each of us as an individual can, the same as you guys can. But if you have a corporate PAC, you can donate unlimited to these outside super PACs. And so that's where all these mailers come from. And we have to do everything we possibly can. That's where the Citizens United comes from. If I had it my way, we'd have public financing of all campaigns. Everybody would get the same amount of money. We would run the campaign clear. There would be no outside spending. I hope we can get to that point. I will fight for that. But the real problem is the outside spending and the corporate PAC money. There is an initiative being proposed here in Montana that would help shine the light on that. It won't solve all the problems, but it would make them better. And I think anybody that cares about democracy needs to be in favor of that as a first step.
Thank you. Russ, same question.
You guys got 2 minutes this time, okay?
2 minutes this time.
Got it. Thank you.
Not like Busse.
Good job, Ryan. Good job. That's great.
Yeah, again, Russ Cleveland, thank you for the question. Great question, and I'm proud to say that I've been running for almost a year now, using the exact model of the initiative that Mr. Busse referenced called the Montana Plan. I am individual contributions only. I have been from the time I started. And my goal in this is to show that you can run a strong campaign with only individual contributions. We don't need dark money. We don't need PAC money. We don't need influence of any kind outside of the people that are voting for us. And until we can fix that piece, we will not have 100% transparency. That is something that everybody has to agree on. And I think Montana's almost there. 74% of Montanans support the Montana Plan. I was proud to endorse the plan early last summer, early in my campaign. And it's important that we start embracing ballot initiatives like this nationwide. That's why I'm proud to be part of a group called the Balance and Accountability Group, which is a nationwide coalition of candidates running that agree on the same thing. There's 160 of us now, candidates nationwide, that agree on 5 principles. One of them is to overturn Citizens United, get stock trading out of Congress, get term limits in place, to put judiciary term limits in place, and to put a 5-year moratorium between lobbying and public service. If we can do those things, we can finally restore, thank you, we can finally restore the representation that all of us deserve. So.
I'll split it if somebody's a hat. We got a long time to go.
Go ahead, Matt.
So I'm definitely going to be a little bit different here. I care about one thing right now. Everything that we're saying up here is going to be great and brilliant, but if we don't win, it means jack. We have to win. And by doing that, we have to use the rules on the table. If these guys aren't going to take PAC money, I've got no problem with that. I'm going to do whatever it takes for all of Montana to make sure we win this goddamn race. Period. So, with that, if that answers, you guys, first of all, PACs are not bad. Unions have PACs. There's some great organizations that have PACs. We cannot turn it toxic because it is what is going to get us across the finish line. So, I mean, dark money, totally different conversation. That is not PAC money. Dark money, we need to get that out of this race, absolutely. I'm with Ryan. I wish that we just had a fixed amount, everyone had to run the same race. That's amazing. But at the end of the day, the GOP is sure as hell not going to play by those rules. They're going to go out there, and they have been winning and winning and winning and winning, and we need to stop and reverse that. Once I'm in Congress, and once I'm a congressman, that is a totally different conversation. If we're out there and I can help end Citizens United, God damn it, I will. But in this race, guys, I'm going to win. Thank you. Is that 2 minutes?
It's under 2 minutes. Under 2. Yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
So I'm not taking a dime of corporate PAC money, dime of APAC money, dime of dark money. Those are the lines in the sand that I think most of us have here. And the issue of the outrageous, disgusting amount of money that is awash in our elections right now that led to a $280 million Senate campaign in Montana last year is the most fundamental issue to all of our broken systems. It is the issue that is woven through a broken housing system, a healthcare system that does not work, and a childcare system in which 2 out of 3 Montanans do not have a place for their children to receive childcare while they are working. It is at the core of the fact that our Congress and our Senate is not responsive to the people, and that we have issues that 80% of us agree on that we have not had action on in decades. And it's core to the problem in which you only tend to see pretty wealthy folks representing us in Congress, where the average net worth of a congressperson today is $3 to $4 million, depending on, well, the day and how good the stock market is doing that day, unfortunately. And the only way we fix this is we repeal Citizens United. We hold every member of Congress from either party accountable if they're not getting behind that initiative. We ban corporate stock trading. And I'll tell you what, we should also be talking about lowering the actual contribution limits here, because if most of my friends are broke firefighters and they can pitch in $50 or $100, and if one person can pitch in $7,000 at a time, well, you don't have to look much further to see the reason why you do not see normal working class people on the ballot for federal elections very often. That is a problem. That is a fundamental issue of representation. And until we get some folks in office who know what it's like to be on the wrong side of these broken systems, we are not going to have people fighting for these things with the appropriate level of urgency that we all deserve from our representatives. That's what I'm running to do here.
Thank you. We know dark money is a big problem. $100 million of secret money was in last elections in Montana. We know that there's going to be outside money coming into this elections. Do each of you right now support the Montana plan?
Yes.
100%.
Come on, that's too easy. I get 2 minutes, right?
Not on this one.
This is a yes or no.
I really like the Montana plan. I need to know a little bit more of a couple things about how the consequences are when the country is split on it. The effects of where the money goes. Ending Citizens United takes all the money out of the system at one time. I like that.
This is a yes or no question.
I said, maybe.
Okay. Sam?
Yeah, that's a hard yes, and the Montana plan is just corporate money, right? So that is just the start.
Yeah.
And if you want more
If we have
information about the
everybody
Montana
outside,
plan,
we have the Montana plan. If pre-signing, if you're in favor of it, you can get on the QR code right here. So please get your phones out, send it to all your friends if it's something you're interested or need to learn more about. And we'll have people out in the lobby to answer a lot more questions, because pre-signing has about 2 more months, and that's very important to get this on the ballot.
Hey, whose show is it, Kevin?
Okay, well, now it's time for Epstein.
Ho, 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 what?
Oh boy, here come the files.
Oh, no.
We got the files. We got the files, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
We've been waiting
Thank you.
and waiting.
what's in there?
I don't know how he got him here, man.
Let's see
That
what's
guy's a
in here. It's
genius.
in there, Ryan.
Ninja.
It's big
We got
print, too.
TJ
Big
there.
print.
TJ to the rescue.
Let's see here. Trump was asked, what about those poor little schoolgirls? And he responded, Iran or Epstein's?
Jesus.
Woody Allen is in the Epstein files, but I refuse to believe he's the type of guy who would cheat on his daughter. Trump said he rates the war in Iran at a 12 or 15 out of 10. I think he's confused, and he's actually just listing the ages of girls he likes. Trump's cabinet is well represented in the Epstein files. Turns out the only type of pedo the U.S. government will fire is a torpedo.
Oh, no.
Trump still eats McDonald's every day, which is strange because you'd think he'd prefer A&W because of the teen burger.
Oh, a teen. I like A&W.
Oh, thank God we made it through the files.
Okay.
So the Epstein files, kind of a hot button issue at the moment. A lot of people talk about it. They say it's a failure in transparency in the United States government. They say it's a failure in investigation. And they also say it's a gross failure in accountability for politicians and for rich people in this country. So I'll start with you, Ryan. What do you think, what would you say, the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the Epstein files?
I think it's proof to a lot of people that we really do have a have and have not system in this country. We have hundreds of the most wealthy and powerful men in this nation who trafficked children and who have not faced a lick of justice. And let's be honest, I don't care if it's a current, past, or future president. I don't care who they are. Every single one of them ought to be in prison. Period. End of story. It is a great moral question of our time, and the reason we're here today is a big reason this is not happening in Washington, D.C. is because we do not have people back there with the courage to make it happen. And it should make you angry. It should make you disgusted. Furthermore, we have some Democrats who haven't done their job, and I think it's time that we elect some Democrats with some backbone, with some courage, with some integrity. Merrick Garland had those files for 4 years. A Democratic administration had those files for 4 years. They knew kids had been trafficked. Did they prosecute? No. That's unforgivable too. But right now, you know, if somebody gets, if one of us has some petty crime issue or our kids do, there's no there's no getting them off or paying somebody $1 million not to prosecute, and yet there's hundreds, if not thousands, of these men who just make contributions to Trump or do whatever they do, pull whatever favors they do are important enough. It's disgusting. And we ought to be disgusted by it, and we ought to have a Congress that does its job and stands up and says, hell no.
How about you, Russ?
Yeah, I think it's important to note something, though, that this doesn't just happen on some island, some never-land place far, far away. This is happening right here in Montana. I promise you there's people sitting in this room that has happened to, and some that have maybe never even spoken about it. I'll give you an example. Between 2008 and 2022, there were 100 untried cases in Bozeman of sexual assault and rape that went untried. This is in every county in our district. It's in every district in the country. And this isn't just some national list that has super powerful people on it. It's people in our hometowns. It's people in our communities. And I'm proud to say that I've put one of those people away. My wife and I were part of putting one of those people in jail in Boise, who's serving a life sentence for that exact horrid behavior that we're talking about. We have to do that at every single level of government, starting at the district attorney, to the state legislation, to the national legislation. And until we take this seriously, and I agree, this isn't a joking matter, thank you for someone who shared that, we have to stop ignoring the problem and start actually trying and convicting these individuals, and we cannot settle for even an ounce of anything less. So, thank you.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think we need to throw in there the murdered and missing Indigenous women as part, whether that's tied to the Epstein or just all those women that have gone missing that we haven't found. As per the Epstein files, I mean, horrible, disgusting, repulsive, all the words. And yeah, these are pedophiles. They're raping children. Why are they not being held accountable? Period.
Sam, how about you? When you think of Epstein, what do you think of?
Yeah, I quite frankly have found it difficult to impossible to read some of the news reporting on this. I mean, this is something that we as a country should not have to sit through. And yeah, it's a failure of both political parties, and it's us all having to sit here and watch while power protects power, and while people's fundamental faith in our political system is undermined, because this is a consensus issue among normal folks who have common sense that pedophiles need to be held to account no matter how wealthy they are. And we should all ask, how did we get here? Well, we got here because we have incredible amounts of concentrated wealth and power protecting men like Jeffrey Epstein and incredibly powerful people who are in his circle, and we're well aware, whether they were in government or finance, of exactly what was going on. And we should all be so angry. And when I take a step back and I look at a lot of my coworkers or folks who come from a background like me who fundamentally do not trust our political system, well, this is one of those instances that feeds directly into that. And I would offer that if we want to bring people back into the coalition that we are all working our tail off to try and build, we should start from a place of acknowledging that there are a lot of good, valid reasons that a lot of poor folks do not trust our political system, because they don't see accountability for wealthy people like they see it for poor and working people. I worked between fire seasons for a group called the Montana Innocence Project. We were advocating on behalf of kids as young as 11 years old facing jail time over in Miles City. And you do not go to jail as an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old if you were raised rich. There aren't any rich kids sitting behind bars in Miles City. And that is the exact same problem that we're seeing as we read these headlines. And again, the way that we fix this is we make sure that we're not just sending people to Washington who are already existing within these networks, and that we're not empowering the people in these networks to continue claiming to serve all of us because they're not serving us and they're not protecting us. This is how we fix it, right here.
Thank you, Sam. Go Pet.
All right, we're going to move to war. Sam, I'm going to start with you on that side of the audience. How do you balance supporting American troops while holding the administration accountable for military decisions, including the Iran debacle? And if you were in Congress, what role do you think Congress should play in approving military actions here or abroad?
Well, I'll tell you, some of the other folks on this stage can speak to this better than me, but a big part of why I got into this race is what I mentioned up front. We just lived through a year plus of things like DOGE gutting what few public services we still had available to us as working people in this state. And you know what federal agency took the largest number of cuts in this country and in this state is the VA. So the way we balance that is we say that we should not be spending a dime abroad on foreign wars of choice until we take care of the people that we have asked to do so in the past. And that ought to be a matter of common sense. And when it comes to something like the war in Iran, well, that is the same damn story that we have all had to live through, even somebody as young as me, too many times already. We are on another foreign continent in a faraway country, spending a whole lot of treasure and spilling a whole lot of blood, not just American soldiers, but a whole lot of civilians being caught up in this utter lack of humanity, and we're not doing it to help poor and working people. You know what happens when we go to war in a place like this? Well, working people pay the price. And our congressional representatives are sitting pretty, doing just fine, and somebody is getting incredibly rich off of all of this. And we should be so mad that we are spending $1 to $3 billion a day in a war with Iran that none of us want and that our Congress people don't have the courage to take a vote on, while we can't even solve a housing crisis or a healthcare crisis. And I would just say, if we can talk about it in those terms, in those cold, hard terms about the way we're actually spending money and the way the people in power are actually prioritizing our resources, again, I think a whole lot of the folks that we just lost last election, a lot of people who were struggling to meet their basic needs, will be just as angry as all of us in this room are as well. Because that is all of us getting screwed. That is a whole lot of people that voted the other way getting screwed, and it is none of us benefiting from it. That's how we win this thing, and that's how we start fixing these ridiculous conflicts we're being sucked into.
What do you think, Matt? I know this is personal. How do you support the troops, holding the administration accountable? What would you do in Congress?
So first of all, we'll go with the Congress first. Congress is the only authority to approve war. There's a reason. Congress is a representation of the people. The people have their sons and daughters involved over there, putting their life on the line. That is why Congress approves it. The people have to approve it. A dictator, a tyrant in the presidency is not allowed that authority because he will misuse it and the power and the lives of our sons and daughters. So, Congress and only Congress. In terms of being over there, I was in Iraq at about 7 years after we invaded, and I was in Afghanistan at about 10 years, 11 years after we invaded. And both of those, when I was in the military in Iraq, the population was just starting, about halfway through my deployment, to start taking the trains again because they felt they could safely get on without being bombed. That took 7 years. In Afghanistan, I was embedded as a photographer with the troops going around, and they were just at 10 or 11 years there starting to get the phone numbers of the tribal leaders because we had been there so long, they started to trust that we weren't just going to be in and out. That when the Taliban came over from Pakistan, they wouldn't just murder everybody. And so they started giving their phone numbers to the US military leaders because they trusted us. It took that long for the population to just start trusting and taking ownership of their country. This Iran fiasco, they have a military of 500 to 600,000 troops. This is not just drop some bombs from the sky and it's over. If we're either like gonna drop some bombs, destroy a government, leave and let a terrorist organization come in and take over and make it far worse than it started, or we've just signed up for a decade plus for our American troops.
Thank you. What do you think, Russ? Balancing supporting the troops, holding the administration accountable, what would you do in Congress?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you, Matt, and any other veterans in the audience for your service. I too am a veteran, and I too share same sentiments as you do. I think, look, there's two parts to this. Men and women sign up every day to serve this country, but we have to understand that once they sign up, they are beholden to the UCMJ, not civilian law anymore. It is not their choice where they go. It is not their choice where they get assigned duty. And so it is our government, in the upper echelons of our government, deciding who dies and who lives, and whose tax dollars get spent, all of yours. Article 1, Section 8 gives Congress the power to declare war, not one man. Article 2 gives that one man authority as commander-in-chief, not authority to declare war. Yet for decades and decades, we have abused that power and allowed for presidents to declare military action that is kind of war, but not really, yet it costs us billions and billions and billions of dollars. You want to know why we have such massive national debt? We can start right there. We are a military-industrial complex that has been in war for 92% of our country's history. Think about that. 8% of our history has been peacetime. The rest of it, we have been at war. That's all we know. That's how we decide what stimulates economy. And so if you want to change some of the issues that we're talking about, healthcare, housing, education, some of these issues, we have to start with changing the way we operate as a country, which means we must stop being the aggressor. We cannot operate in a fashion that we stay at war 92% of our existence. And so what I will do is fight to ensure that happens. No more wars, no more forever wars, no more. It needs to go through Congress, strip the president of this power, allow him to remain oversight over concise military action, whether that's spec op teams, what have you, to make sure that he does have some authority to move quickly. But in my opinion, we set a cap on the amount that he can spend and the amount of troops that he can send inland to actually create this type of conflict. So, thank you.
Ryan, what do you think? How do you support the troops, hold the administration accountable? What should Congress do?
Well, let's start by appreciating the U.S. military. Your tax dollars and many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dedicated people have constructed the finest fighting force on the planet. And it's obvious that the men and women in the U.S. military can accomplish their mission when they're given. The question here is the civilian leadership being moral, being legal, upholding their oath to the Constitution? And I think the answer is clearly no. All you have to do is look at the myriad reasons that we have been given for this war in Iran, and it's lie upon lie upon lie upon lie. There were no immediate risk from nuclear weapons. There were no immediate risk from Iran attacking the United States. Those were contrived reasons. I can tell you, after having been on the campaign trail for a long time in two different races now, and especially in this one, I go around and I listen to people and what they need and what they hope for, and I can tell you one thing I've never heard. Gosh, I hope my government starts an unneeded war in Iran so I can't have health care. That's something I promise you none of the four of us have ever heard. We're spending almost $1 billion a day, and we're telling people that we can't fix their health care. Come on. I just talked to my good friend, doctor here in town. We chatted after the Mansfield Metcalf event here, and he told me about a gentleman that came into him and couldn't afford, he's a radiologist, and he couldn't afford to have scans done, and he's stage 3 cancer, and he had to be turned away. And we're telling people like this that we cannot have universal health care, but we choose to spend $1 billion a day on a war that we were lied to, probably to keep the military-industrial complex, to keep those quarterly stock reports humming. That's immoral. It's probably illegal. We need to send somebody to Congress who has the backbone to put an elbow into both Democrats and Republicans that allow this to happen, and we need a Congress that stands up and does its job and holds the administration accountable.
Before we move on, I just want to say thanks, Russ, for bringing up the Constitution. Every time I say it, these guys, their eyes roll back in their heads and they start to fall asleep. But thanks for bringing up the Constitution.
Boring.
All right, next question. Let's move back home, domestic. So right now, the wealth disparity in the United States is greater than it was during the Gilded Age. It's starting to feel like, especially here in Montana, that you have to be a millionaire to live in this state. Ryan, I'll start with you. Steve, start with Matt. Do you mind? Or Matt? We'll start with Matt. Steve wants to start with Matt, so we'll start with Matt. What policies would you support to help Montanans still be able to afford Montana?
I mean, and this is what's really personal to me. God damn, you guys have so much fun over there laughing and joking, and then you get these serious questions.
That's our job.
Yeah, it really is. Like, when I grew up as a kid in the 90s, like, I remember going to New York City, and I remember thinking, like, a $5 bill in Montana is like a $20 bill in New York City. And that's what the Montana way of life was. Like it was affordable, it was cheap. And right now, like, I mean, we are facing the crisis that our next greatest export is going to be our next generation. They're being forced out, forced to leave Montana because they can't afford housing. Right now, I think 20, 30-year-olds are spending almost probably 2/3, 60, 70% of their monthly salary wages just to pay for rent. And that is unsustainable. So to fix it, I mean, if you go back to like Montana Farmers Union, co-ops, we built rural America, rural Montana. There are solutions where you involve the population coming together, but it's taxes. Trump has done everything in his power to give tax breaks to the billionaires, multimillionaires out there, and we need to reverse those. I mean, shit, it used to be like billionaires were taxed at 60, 70, 80%, and the middle class was huge. I see no problem with that.
Yeah. How about you, Russ? What policies would you support to help keep Montanans in Montana?
Yeah, I think this is where my experience really comes in. I've like I said, worked in higher finance, managed budgets over $300 million, started my own business, a child care company, built affordable housing right here in Montana. This is multifaceted. It's not just one solution that keeps people in Montana. There's 4 things that we can do that totally changes the trajectory of the future of our next generation. The first is education. I believe, and I would initiate a rollout of education reform that includes the junior and senior year of high school. Right now, some schools allow you to graduate with an associate's degree out of high school, only some. That should be applicable to all high schools, to where you can graduate with both your diploma and associates. That cuts your student debt load in half. But a lot of kids don't want to go to college, so I think we also offer that apprenticeship program in that junior and senior year that allows you to leave high school as a journeyman making $50, $60, $100 an hour and actually have a chance as a 19 or 20-year-old in Montana. The second piece is universal child care. For every dollar we spend on universal child care, it's a $4 to $9 return on local economic return. So that means we see local economy grow as we give more child care opportunities for family. If you don't believe me, look at New Mexico. It's a perfect model of this happening in real time, the only state that has funded universal child care. The third, we've all talked a little bit about it, is universal health care. The number one expense for not only families, but guess what? Small businesses is benefits outside of the actual payroll. So if you want to see small businesses thrive again and people have an opportunity to do what they love or whatever skill they may have in a niche business setting, if we take that healthcare on a national scale to a universal level, it removes that expense from businesses and individuals to where they can do what they want wherever they want. They're not landlocked into a career anymore. And so that creates real opportunity. And then the fourth is we have to really tackle affordable housing issues here. And I see that by being done through wages. We haven't seen wages grow in our working class since the 80s. If you want to see people stay, we have to have working class wages that work for Montanans.
Okay, Ryan, you've won the election. You've made it to your office without being attacked by Tim Sheehy. What policies are you going to support to address affordability in Montana?
Well, I think we need to realize that this wealth disparity thing is not like gravity. It was not thrust upon us. It did not just happen. It happened because we sent representatives to Washington, D.C., who over decades instituted laws and regulations that made it happen. There's a thing called the carried interest loophole that allows a bajillionaire hedge fund guy to pay 10% in taxes. Does anybody here pay 10% in taxes? I doubt it. That's an example of something we've done. I do think we need to focus, for me, primarily, the first thing to focus on is healthcare. Universal health care, we've got to fight for it. I'm tired of Democrats standing in the way. Teddy Roosevelt advocated for universal health care, for God's sake, 119 years ago. I think it's time for universal health care in this country. I doubt there's anybody in this audience that isn't fighting health care woes. Then we have to start making better choices. Right now, we have a Congress that decided in this big, beautiful bill, and I usually use other B words to label that bill, but in that bill, they allocated $191 billion to ICE and DHS. $191 billion. That is more than all but 14 militaries on the face of the earth. Your tax dollars are going to fund an entirely new military, right? It's larger than the U.S. Marine Corps, the budget is. And yet we tell people like my two boys that we can't have better programs for first-time home buyers, or we can't have a rent assistance program in this country. We have made thousands and thousands of choices that have increased the wealth disparity in this state, in this country, and it's about time we have a representative that starts making decisions to reduce every single one of those. My promise to all of you, to my kids, to your kids, is that I will not vote for, I will not advocate for, I will not speak on behalf of a single bill that increases the wealth disparity, only reduces it, period.
All right, Sam, we'll give you the last word on this topic. Affordability in Montana, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I'm bummed I only get 2 minutes here. This is precisely what this campaign is about, right? This is the issue that we started with, what is woven through all of these problems, and what we need to fix here is housing. We have an entire generation or two of Montanans who cannot conceive of owning a home in the community that they were born and raised in. We need to fix health care. I can tell you that I just lost my health care when I left smoke jumping, the best job I ever had, to run this race, because you can't be a federal employee running for public office and looking at the marketplace. A cheap, bad health insurance plan via private health insurance corporations is $900 a month with a $12,000 deductible. That is not a functioning healthcare system. And just about everyone here and just about everybody in this state knows that that system is not working for them. And we need to fix childcare. And all of these things are so frustrating. And they should make us so angry. And that is the anger that we feel in this country. But the hopeful thing is that we have fixed all of these problems before. We had a housing crisis once in this country. We had an entire generation of Americans moving back to the United States after World War II, ready to buy homes and build families. And you know what we did? We invested billions in 1950s dollars on a bipartisan basis to build hundreds of thousands of units of homes, 810,000 units we built back then. And we created the low-income housing voucher program, and there were all sorts of flaws in the ways we did that. But we have better tools that we could be using today, and we have all of the resources that we need. We are just spending them in all the wrong places. So how do we pay for all these things? It's taxes. Let's not tap dance around it. Because when I am working as a smoke jumper making $80,000 a year jumping out of planes, well, 36% of every single paycheck I got went to taxes, went to payroll taxes. I wasn't above that Social Security payroll tax cap. I was paying the same ratio as 94% of this population. And if you are one of the top 400 earners in this country, your effective income tax rate is 4 to 10%. That's not a functioning tax system. That is a system that is in fact rigged. It's just rigged against working people in favor of the wealthiest folks in this country. So the way we fix that is simply by asking or making everybody in this country carry their own damn weight. So we should have a minimum effective income tax rate for every dollar earned over $1 million to say that if you are making over $1 million a year, well, you're not paying any less than 30% no matter how good your accountant is. That's how we pay for all of these things.
So we've got a few questions coming in off of Facebook Live, and actually you just answered one about the taxing the people making that much money, so we don't have to ask that one. That's good. But I have this one. What do you think makes Donald Trump so adorable? I mean, he is sexy. That's from Arian Flint. Never mind. We're not going to answer that one. Joe Peck, why don't you take over with the next question? I'm going to block him. He's blocked.
Oh, little Aaron.
He's blocked, all right. So, division. There's so much division in our society. You know, Republicans are mad at Democrats and vice versa. You know, but we don't necessarily see that on the streets. You know, you don't treat your neighbors that way. But you see it on the internet. You see it all over on social media. What responsibility do you think electors, leaders have to lower the temperature of our political discourse? Ryan, why don't you start?
Man, I think it's got to start with us. And I want to give you all some hope. A couple years ago when I ran, and we had that really divisive, expensive election that we all just talked about, I could feel the division in the air. You could see it, you know. The thing is now, though, people's lived experience in the last few years has not been great. We're all in the same boat together. And I think what we have to focus on, as several of the guys here are tonight, the things that we have in common that we need to get fixed together. There's not a single person in this state, in this country, that doesn't need effective health care. I hear from Republicans, crossover voters. I did right-wing talk radio here a few days ago. I heard it from them. There's really a shared existence. We have a shared life. We have shared needs. And I think it's really important that us four, whichever one of us makes it through, whoever gets elected in the Congress, we should stand up and fight for the things that bring us together. I think it's really incumbent upon us, and I think it's important that we fight hard, that we don't appear as though we're untrustworthy to the voter, because once that happens and the faith in the political system breaks down, you have demagogues like Donald Trump that can seize on that, divide us, create conspiracy theories, create hate. So it's incumbent upon us to be honorable, be filled with integrity, fight hard for what we say we're going to do, and actually do some of these things. Otherwise, voters are going to stay divided, and it's got us in a pretty rough spot in this country, and I think it's time we turn it around.
What do you think, Russ?
How many of you in the audience remember a purple Montana? Yeah, me too. Me too. That's the Montana I grew up in. And that's what we have to get back to. There's balance in that. It reduces the temperature. It reduces this us versus them mentality. It's better on every level, and that's the way I've approached this campaign. I am the one running up here that is the independent. I'm an independent Democrat, a progressive independent, whatever you want to label it. I grew up in a Republican household. I know what that looks like. I know how they think. I know how they operate. Through my own life as a business owner, I've seen the benefits of some of the business owners that have voted that way. If we want to build that bridge back and reduce division, we have to be the ones responsible for taking that temperature down. Remove the party labels. Focus on the issues. My agenda is very progressive. But guess what? I've been traveling for 10 months. You want to know what some of the communities that are most interested in these items are that I'm bringing forward? They are the deep red areas. Dillon, Ennis, Libby, Eureka, Hamilton, you name it. These are the communities that are hurting for opportunity, affordable health care, child care, assistance with housing, because they don't have other options in these communities. Rural Montana is hurting. And so this is an opportunity for us to build a bridge. And I don't think we get there by being beholden to a national party. So we have to strip those layers back and stay beholden to the people of Montana. And I think you do that in this election in 2026. And I'd be honored to be that person for you. So thank you.
What do you think, Matt? What's the responsibility of elected folks to bring us back together a little bit? I know that, like, the farmers union can't get along if they're always fighting with everybody, and so,
We're the happy one. That's the other one.
You're the happy people.
No, and actually, I take back what I said there, just because. So to answer your first, it's the politicians, 100%. It is our responsibility to change the narrative out here. It is not like we're on the same page. We're in the middle. the left and right bashing each other, just swinging and trying to swing harder and harder is not getting us anywhere. It has made Congress completely stall out. I got into this race because of the diversity of my background. Rancher, growing up, deep roots. My family's mostly Republican. And so I can get in and sit down, go to the gas station, guys come in, have that conversation with them, connect one-on-one, joke about like why I'm running and doing different kind of things. Military, 10% of Montana are veterans. They want to sit and believe in somebody who knows and has gone through the same experiences that they have. I can sit and talk with them, whether they're Republican or Democrat. That breaks those walls down. Energy sector. I can sit, we can talk about boilers and steam drums and how when I was doing inspections in the steam drums, I came out looking like Ace Ventura out of a rhinoceros. Like, there's funny things like that that help bring that temperature down, and people are hungry for that. They want that. All they hear on Fox News is just aggression and negativity, and they buy into it. But with a candidate that can really genuinely connect authentically, have been in the same boots, they will gravitate towards that. And they want to have those conversations, and they want to like pick your brain and figure out why are we so divided and extreme? Because at the end of the day, 60, 70, 80% of what we really care about in Montana is the same. If it's just wanting to take care of our families, wanting to take care of our future, our next generation, I will stop talking, but I have a lot more to say.
Sam, you've been in the hell enough. You know what sharp elbows are all about, what politics is all about. What do you think the responsibility is for the elected leaders to lower the temperature?
On a fundamental level, the way that we lower the temperature is talking like humans to each other in the course of an election. And we do not win an election in a meaningful way by just making people hate the other guys more than they hate us. And for too long, it has felt like that has been the recipe that our national political parties have been offering us here. And when you go to Helena, I've spent the last decade working between fire seasons on everything from public education to public libraries to civil liberties. And you know what? My last session up there was 2023. That was the first Republican supermajority in Montana history. That shows you how far we had fallen in 2023 from being a ticket-splitting state. And even in a session like that, well, I was able to work with a coalition of homeless shelters that we put together to pass $5 million of support for homeless shelters. It wasn't near enough. And it wasn't near enough in the context of the embarrassment of riches that was a $300 million state budget surplus, in which they spent a whole lot more to cut the top income tax bracket than they did to help homeless folks in a state where, in a lot of cities, that had doubled or tripled in the preceding few years. But you do that by working with people in both parties. And thus far, that is how I have earned the endorsement of 28 Montana legislators, current and former, 4 of them Republicans, because that is the kind of coalition we have to build if we want to win, and if we want to win in the kind of meaningful way that will give us the majorities to start fixing things like housing and healthcare and childcare, and to start taking the temperature down in the way that this country desperately needs so we can return to civil discourse. Because you know what? Whoever wins, and the Democrat is going to win this year, when we do that, and when we take back the House and we take back the Senate, there's still going to be a Republican in the White House for 2 years. And we're going to have to work with that guy, whether it's the current one or the next one behind him. And if we want to do that, well, we need to have the experience doing it, and that's what I intend to take to Washington, D.C. here, is experience working with Republicans, whether I like it or not, on behalf of working people.
All right. We're going to move into the lightning round, where you get 1 minute to answer each of these questions, and these questions are all from the audience tonight.
That doesn't mean we get shocked if we go past it.
The buzzer, but you get the buzzer.
Well, that's what you think. It might be coming. You might get shocked.
We'll just cut your mic. So we're going to start with Russ on this one, because Russ, you've talked a lot about being an independent Democrat, and I'm going to ask you to limit your answer on this one. And I just want you to, the question is, what is one issue you disagree with your own party on, and why? Just one for you, Russ.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I'm super pro Second Amendment. I think if anything we've seen in this this day and age, a tyrannical government. I think maintaining that right to bear arms is more important than ever. And I think we have to be careful to strip anyone of any constitutional rights at any point. And to me, as an avid hunter, as former military, but now in a time when we don't know who's going to storm our streets in this country, it's more important than ever to have the opportunity to defend yourself. And that was what the Second Amendment was put in place for. And so I think we have an opportunity to revisit that and reaffirm that this is not a left versus right issue. It's an American one. And so for too long, Democrats have, I think, pushed pretty hard on that issue. And that's something that I take, like many Montanans, take a strong stance in support of.
And so Matt, same question, but I just want to preface it with, you started out talking about being plugged into the money and not worrying too much about that. So what is one area in the Democratic Party that you disagree with?
I'm going to split my time here. So the Second Amendment.
It's only 1 minute this round.
Oh, damn it. Second Amendment, absolutely. I think in today's day and age, it is more important than ever because it's kind of there in case there's like an autocratic tyrant that tries to do something in the United States. We have the guns and we have the Second Amendment to defend ourselves. If we start seeing the administration try to take away our Second Amendment rights, I would be damn concerned. With that, big proponent for law enforcement. I don't like Montana kind of took a hit with the defund the police in the last couple cycles. I'm a big proponent to make sure that we have solid law enforcement, well-funded, across the state. I've talked with a lot of officers, and it's the hardest thing to keep deputies on staff. And so, yeah, I would absolutely make sure that, the party gets away and make sure that we are all safe at night.
Thanks, Matt. Ryan, we'll come back to you, and then we'll hear from Sam. You just spent two falls ago running as a Democrat for governor. So what's the one issue you disagree with most with the party?
I tell you the one issue I focus on, and I disagree with a lot of national Democrats on this, is the need for universal health care. I listened to the Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader now, and when he's asked about his answer, his preferred approach to health care, and I hear these mealy-mouthed, kind of soft, focus group, sort of answers, and I can tell you, I'm done with them. Voters are done with them. It's time we elect Democrats who have a backbone, who will go to Washington, D.C., and if it's our own people, a lot of you may know I sacrificed a career. I think it's time we have people who are willing to sacrifice, who aren't going back there to get in the lobbyist pockets. There's $74 billion made every year by health insurance companies in this country. They are slowing down healthcare. They're making your healthcare worse, not better. And yet we have Democrats who don't have the fortitude to buck that system because they're probably eating thick steaks and drinking super fancy whiskey with these lobbyists. It's time that we elect somebody who has integrity, somebody who has proven they will sacrifice, somebody who will go back there, and I think it's important that we treat our own party, that we hold our own party to a higher standard, even than we do the Republicans. Okay? So on health care, I want to say on universal health care, it is time to elect Democrats who will fight for it and fight for it like they mean it.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. And Sam, to you, this last question. You made a big splash when you announced, because you immediately got the endorsement of Bernie Sanders and AOC. So what is one of the issues you disagree with most out of the Democratic Party?
Yeah, well, it's a shame we only have 1 minute here. I suppose the thing I would start with here is representation. I've mentioned it earlier here, right? The average net worth of a congressperson is $3.8 million. Last time I checked, right? Depends on the day. Depends on how the stock market's doing. That is not the average wealth of a person in Montana or in this country. The average age of a congressperson is 56 or 58, and you know what? The Democratic Party is actually the older of those two caucuses. And right now, I think people of all ages are looking at what's happening in our government and the fundamental lack of representation that has led to them not treating whatever the issue is, be it affordability, be it actual addressing of government efficiency, because there are massive inefficiencies in our government. I've seen them as a federal employee. Those are issues of representation. They're issues of people who do not know what it is like on the ground to be doing something like firefighting, where you end up standing there watching more money be spent on retardant drops that go to a private aerial firefighting company than you will make in your lifetime. And that company happens to be owned by a United States Senator named Tim Sheehy. The way we solve that is by sending people to Congress who are reflective of Montana and reflective of our values. And I disagree with the national leadership in the Democratic Party that has held the doors of change closed to people who actually reflect working people and Montana values and the next generation. I think a whole lot of folks in this state agree. And if we want to start building a broad coalition, we need to send people who are reflective of that to Washington.
It sounds like somebody's not happy with Chuck Schumer. Big surprise there. All right, we got a question online, and this is pretty much a yes/no, but you guys keep this one quick, but it's from Dale Kirkvillette, certified forester. I thought this was a good one. Do you support the Montana DNRC managing the U.S. forest lands? Sam, go with you.
This is my bread and butter, brother.
That's what I thought. I figured we'd start that one with you.
No,
Spent a lot of time in those woods.
You know, there are good cooperative agreements that the Forest Service or federal land management agencies have entered into with the NRC, right? Good neighbor authority can be quite useful when exercised properly. But right now, what is happening to our public lands is that they're absolutely being gutted, and transferring ownership is one of many mechanisms of selling off our public lands. Right? They manufactured a crisis this year where they started talking about selling 2 to 3 million acres of public lands, and then they stepped back from that brink that they had brought all of us to, as if they're saving us from something. And in the meantime, they gutted every single public lands agency in this country to the tune of 15 to 25%. And our public lands are not just lines on a map. It is a whole lot of people working their tails off to make sure that you can actually make it up that road to the trailhead and actually make it up that trailhead, up that trail to access that forest or wilderness to go hunting. If you don't have a private ranch to go hunting on, or to go hiking or skiing, if you can afford to get a day off on the weekend between the jobs that you're working here. And the people that they were firing are the people that keep these lands up. And you know what happens when they fire all of our public lands employees? Well, they turn around and they do the same thing they did with public education, the same thing they did with public health. They say it's not working and we got to privatize it. And the next thing you know, Tim Sheehy's aerial firefighting company is announcing record profits. And we're all paying more for less.
Bingo. Matt, what's your take on the management of the U.S. forest?
I mean, I really like the Forest Service that manages right now. As long as they're properly funded, they can get out there and take care of things, because I do a lot of riding horses up in the mountains, kind of the Augusta and the Lincoln area is my crack. Continental Divide there, and they do such a good job clearing those trails. Remarkable, all the different miles and miles and miles they do. So hats off to the Forest Service for what they do.
Russ?
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Thought maybe you fell asleep over there.
Wake up, George. Yeah.
Making sure you're on your toes.
He's just surfing the net a little bit. So.
How many of you pay taxes in here? Woohoo! This is your land. Whether you own personal land or not, you own public land. It's public lands, public hands. Don't fall asleep at the wheel and think that any of these sleight of hands is anything but another attempt to try and make public lands private again. So I think all four of us probably up here support public lands in a big way. It's part of our Montana way of life. It is part of our American way of life. It's one of the unique things that we have in this country that differentiates us from any other country in the world, and we should be doing everything that we can to protect it at every level. So that means fund the existing body that is tasked with managing these public lands, be it the Forest Service or national parks or what have you, adequately, and stop giving billionaires more tax breaks in place of adequately managing these public lands, period.
All right, Ryan, we know you spend a lot of time up there. I follow you on Instagram. Always in the woods. Thank God you can't get any ticks in that mop.
Well,
That was that one video he did indoors. I saw that
No,
one.
he goes home and he cooks his birds at home. Come on.
enough from the peanut gallery, boys. Okay. Listen, I've spent a lot of my volunteer life working on public lands issues. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. I think it's integral to our way of life here in Montana. It's certainly integral to my family's way of life, the things that we love to do. You should be very, very, very suspicious of any sort of proposal that says a state agency or a state can manage your federal public lands better than federal officials can. You should be very suspicious of that. Number one, it's not true. Number two, states can't afford to do it, not even close to do it. So you think you have property tax woes now? Just wait until you pile public lands management onto state agencies. It's a terrible idea. It's a camel nose under the tent sort of idea to selling public lands, because as soon as a state agency gets saddled with all of this management, they're going to say, oh gosh, can't afford it. I think we'll have to sell it. That's been the approach by public lands haters for a generation. It's something I fought against, and it's a beautiful thing that everybody here owns part ownership in 640 million acres. It's literally the most exceptional thing about America. I say that because there is no other country on the globe that has trusted itself to own, it's trusted its citizens to own this sort of land. And the federal government, the federal government doesn't own anything. You own it. We own it. Your kids own it. As Teddy Roosevelt said, it's for those in the womb of time, and we ought to be considering that.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a good one.
That's a good quote.
Boy, these guys sound pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, wow.
Once again, we got smarter people than us.
I know.
That's rare. That's rare.
We just listen to you guys and know what not to say.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb.
Like, follow, and share, please.
All right, another 1 minute question. What's one policy position you've changed your mind about in the last 5 years? We'll start with Matt this time.
ICE.
I like that. Oh, you're on the list now, buddy.
I don't really know. Nothing's coming to mind. I mean, immigration, I'll run with that. I think kind of what was quoted before, when the big, beautiful bill came out, they were allocating $1.3 million per ICE agent. That's what that budget balance, worked out to. And so when you saw, 6 guys jumping out of a van and arresting and throwing some person on the ground, that was about $6-7 million right there. And so that is an atrocity. ICE, as it's supposed to be within Department of Homeland Security, I mean, I respect the agency as it was originally intended before Trump took it and morphed it into his private little army. And so, yeah, we absolutely need to take that and get it back into the form that it was originally intended.
Sam, same question.
Yeah, I spent the winter of 2021 working for a group called the ACLU of Montana, and we work on a lot of criminal justice issues. And I found in the course of that a major gap in the way that we as the left or progressives or whatever the hell you want to call them talk about law enforcement is that we do not extend the same level of compassion to some of those folks that we do elsewhere when it comes to the poor and working people that end up being asked to do some of these jobs in a system in which police are being sent to address issues that they are not trained for and should not be addressing. And I changed my mind because in 2023, a former coworker of mine who I worked up in the Swan Valley with for a couple of years, he ran a SAW for me on a squad. He ended up dying the following year. He was hit by a tree, fighting fire in Oregon, and we had something called a critical incident stress management team come and talk to the crew. That is a model in which you have a therapist come and you have somebody who's within that industry, and I ended up going to take that class, that CISM class, and most of that class were police officers, and every single one of them had their first dead baby story. And I realized, you know what, these guys are seeing things a lot more terrible than I'm seeing as a firefighter, and I think if we want to be able to have a big tent and a broad coalition, we should talk about the lack of compassion that we've extended to those folks and the lack of mental health services that a lot of those folks are receiving, and how we could get at the root of some of those issues if we just extended that same compassion to them that we are pushing the rest of the country to extend to poor and working people who get caught up in the other side of that criminal justice system.
Ryan?
Might sound like a broken record here, but universal health care. I helped build a large business and hired lots of folks and helped assess health plans for employees. And I saw the sort of irresponsible, profit gouging sort of activity that happens with insurance companies. And there was a time 8 or 10 years ago when I thought maybe our healthcare system could stand up under its own weight. Maybe the things that we had been told by politicians and by health insurance companies, maybe they really could work. Maybe they just needed tweaking. Maybe the things that we hear about on the news channels, maybe they were right. Maybe this will work. It's not going to work. Sarah and I and so many of our friends, I can't find anybody who isn't, up in arms almost. I mean, we should not have a healthcare system that scares people to death. And over the last few years, I've come to realize that there's no taping this thing back together, or as they say on the ranch, putting it together with baling wire and chewing gum. It's not going to work. We have to revamp the entire thing. We must have universal health care. I didn't always believe that. I do now. I think it's got to happen.
Russ?
Yeah, I think we're at a critical moment right now where we need to revisit the intersection between what was post 9/11's Patriot Act, the invasion of privacy on American citizens, including government surveillance, and what is now AI data center development. We have companies like Palantir that are emerging, investing trillions of dollars into AI development. And it's important not to be afraid of AI. There's a lot of good that can come from AI. I talked to a company in Bozeman last week that is using AI, has developed a way to diagnose leukemia up to 10 years prior to it showing in your blood with blood tests using AI models. But unfortunately, we have a government that's intention with AI is something entirely different. And so I think we need to take a hard look quickly at putting safeguards in place for the people of America so that our technocracy doesn't continue to grow and we limit their power. And that mechanism is the Patriot Act, which allows government surveillance under the guise of anti-terrorism in the United States. There are some other things, since I have a few moments regarding AI, that data centers would include internalized cooling systems.
Whoops.
I'll just get to that later then.
You got one, Ed, or are we going to wrap it up? Oh, you got one? Sure.
All right, we'll finish up with a couple of kind of non-political questions, but we just wrote this one down. I was just thinking about it. So yesterday was International Women's Day.
We do love women. They will not come on our show because we're just pretty stupid.
And of course, in typical American fashion, we had to give them the day that had 23 hours in it. We couldn't give them a full day. Well, so I'll start with you.
You're gonna get me slapped.
I know.
No problem.
I'll start with you, Sam. Who is your favorite female role model and why?
Well, that's a gimme.
I think WAGs are excluded from this one, right? Wives and girlfriends?
Okay.
Well, thank you for giving me that out. Since you said that, I was raised largely by a single mother who is an ICU nurse. She still is. And worked her tail off to provide for my little sister and I, who is now herself a nurse over at St. Pat's. And she was not easy. I mean, you got to be a no-nonsense mom when you're doing it alone. She was my basketball coach from 6th to 8th grade. I was the worst kid on the team. She would swat the hell out of me if I didn't make sure I stood up straight and shot that shot. And she's, the person who has influenced my life more than anybody. And I remember being a kid worried that mom is working too much. And that is a lot of what this campaign is about. Is that you should not have to worry about whether you can provide for your kids doing a critical job like nursing or being a teacher. And it is not easier to provide for your family as a nurse in Montana today than it was 20 or 25 years ago. So my mom is, and that's the easy answer, right? I gotta say it.
Is she here tonight? Can we get?
This is all about.
Is she in the audience tonight, Sam?
You'll see her if you come over to St. Patty's Day in Butte. You'll see her on our, she's a Kelly. She's got 38 Kelly cousins running around, so watch out. Don't mess with her.
Is she buying car bombs or?
I think I'm out of time here.
Let's go down this way. Ryan, how about you? Who's your female role model?
We figured
and
we'd
why?
give you 2 minutes on this one. So.
All right. Well, did you exclude wives? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Wives and girlfriends,
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
your girlfriend too. Sorry, Sarah.
So that takes two of them out for you, Ryan.
Okay. So I'm going to break your rule because Sarah's my role model. For those of you who know, she's a badass. She's right up there. I mean, she fought for libraries here. Who knew that was controversial? Right?
Brad Abel.
Yeah. Who knew that was controversial? I posted yesterday, she keeps our family afloat. Man, she does. And she told me one time, if the house burns down, the only thing she wants to save is the raft, right? So our family owes everything we are to her. And if you're ever on a rocky river, man, she's the one you want on the sticks. That's it. That's all I got.
Russ, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I echo that, but, you know, my wife and I have been through hell and back together, but she is my light. But I want to take it one step further and give tribute to Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She is a feminist icon. She fought very hard for equal rights, and, you know, I think we could really use leadership like that in our Supreme Court right now. So. I'll leave it at that. May she rest in peace. So.
Matt, how about you?
Well, I'm absolutely going to give my shout out to my wife. Ryan, you're going to get us in trouble with that one. So yeah, I mean, we've built a life together. Coming back to the ranch has been amazing. To do my other shout out, so keeping it personal. I mean, a crap load of women have influenced and affected my life throughout childhood on. I had a great opportunity to kind of return that favor. My cousin, she was getting her doctorate, and she called me up, and this is just as I'd wrapped up my photography phase, and she's like, hey, I want to do this leadership project on women in third world countries. She's like, will you come along with me? And so we went to Kurdistan in northern Iraq, and we went out and we met with like military leaders, and essentially what she was doing was going to third world areas with matriarchal governments where women were like involved running. And so it was a great opportunity to be there, and she was collecting all this data. We went there, and then Rwanda and Uganda and Serbia and Croatia, and so she got all this data that she came back, and as part of her doctorate thesis, she's a doctor now, she could go around to conferences and explain to people why you should include women in your government throughout the world. Like, so all these asshole patriarchal governments, they could learn that it is deeply valuable to include women in every level, whether it's in business or government. And so, yeah, it was an incredible opportunity. Traveling around with her, doing those projects, meant a lot. And she's done some really good work with that information.
All right. All right, well, let's wrap this up so you guys can meet and greet a little bit after the show here. Well, our final question will be, this is the Beer Buds and Big Sky podcast.
Brought to you by the Montana Tap House.
So we want to know, you know, Ed here, his favorite beer is an IPA, but he usually, after he has 8 or 9, he throws up. I think he's allergic to hops.
I'm getting old, man.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Gotta switch to Mick Ultra.
So the question would be, we'll start with you, Russ. You know, what is your favorite beer? And then we'll give you a minute for just some closing remarks and why you're running and how do people find you and where do you go from here?
Yeah, I'd say like any true Montanan, I'd say anything cold works. You know, I just want to say thank you all for being here. You are participating in something that needs to be done on a broader scale nationwide. You are trying to choose who is the future leaders of this country. And I'll tell you, obviously, I believe that I could represent Montana in the best way, or I wouldn't be in this race. However, I do have to give a shout out to these guys. Anybody on this stage is head and shoulders above the representatives that we have right now. So,
Including us.
with that, I'll just say one final thing. I know some of us have families up here as well, and many of you do too. I will say campaigning is hard. It takes a toll. 5, 6, sometimes 7 nights a week out on the road away from our families. And we're doing this for you, at least I am. And, I want to give a shout out to my wife and kids. But ultimately, the only way we can keep the wheels turning is with your support. And so if any way possible that you can donate to my campaign and support us through volunteer efforts, through social media, what have you, please do so. That's russellcleveland.org. I have some information out in the lobby. I hope you'll come talk to me after tonight's event. So thank you all for coming.
How about you, Matt? Same question.
I mean, I like a lot of different kind of beer. But I love the fact that I can find moose drool about anywhere in the country. And so I always just search for it first.
Yep.
2 points, kind of wrapping up here. I mean, thank you all for coming. Really appreciate the engagement. As I started, it doesn't mean jack if we don't get elected. So use this opportunity, get out, engage with your friends and family and neighbors, and let them know what you learned here tonight. Talk about the candidates. Get that energy going out there among your community so they care too. We know you care. You came. You took the night off to come learn about us. Share what you've learned from the candidates here. And then, as much as we did with all of our policy and platform and procedures, at the end of the day, we have one job when we get elected, and that is to take your concerns, your problems, your issues, and do something about it. So everything that's going on, it's all in the past. We're running for the future. We're here to protect us, protect our way of life, and make everything that we can about what you're trying to do for your future possible and better.
Thanks, Matt. Sam.
My favorite beer is typically the beer I got after we catch a fire, and it's the first thing you do on your way home. Right? You stop and you get a burger and a beer, and don't matter what you got. And I cannot wait to have that beer when we finally flip this House seat in November. And I suppose if this is the last thing I get to say, I'd like to leave you with a little story. My second to last fire I got to jump this past year. It was late September, and the load of jumpers I was with had just jumped 3 fires in the preceding 9 days. There was a lightning bust going on in northern Washington, and we were tired as hell. And we were 3 days into this fire. And we had been working 16-plus hour days, and we had wrapped this 5-acre fire, and there was rain coming the next day, or there was supposed to be. So at around 8 o'clock, sun setting, we were saying, well, we got this thing wrapped. We got some scratch line. If you fought fire, you've heard the term jumper line. It was good enough to hold it, we thought. And the jumper in charge, her name was Cameron. She's the first woman ever to make it through rookie training at the Alaska Smoke Jumper Base. And she said, no, you're not. You're not done. Because weather is not a firefighting tactic. And that was the most frustrating thing I could have heard at that moment. Because I wanted to go make the fire at camp, and I wanted to cook a steak, and I wanted to go to bed. But we swung our tools, and we ran those saws for another few hours, and we made sure that line was bomb-proof and that we had 30 feet of fuel cut in the path of that fire just in case the rain didn't come. And right now, it sure as hell feels like the rains are coming. And if we want those rains to come, we cannot rest on our laurels and wait for it. And as I look at the last election, well, when Democrats lost folks making under $100,000 a year, and half of the union members in this state voted Republican, and a whole lot of young people stayed home or swung right, well, if we want to bring our own rain, and if we want to make sure we catch this thing, we need to earn all of those folks' support again. And we exist in a very particular political moment. If we want to reach out and grab that thing This campaign is how we do it. I would love your help with that because, as they said, this is not an easy thing. So please go check out samformontana.com. I cannot wait to talk to some of you after this. I would love your help because if we want to get one of us elected to Congress and finally have some working class representation out there, well, it's going to take all of us pulling together, and I would love your help with that. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan.
Good Flathead Valley beer, Hat Trick IPA from our friends down at Tamarack.
Yes.
Right? That's
Yes.
good beer, good folks down there. Hey, I love it that these guys laugh.
It's because we're funny.
I'm not sure Ed has all the fries in his Happy Meal, but I love being here with them, and it is funny, and it's good that they do this. But I'm going to ask you to be serious for just a minute. Our country's in crisis, and it's time that we get real serious about this election. I'd rather laugh and tell the jokes, but we either win the majority back in this next election, or our country is in for a dang hard 2 years. You might want to build bunkers and take care of your kids because it's going to be rough. And I've done some hard things in my life, and I'm asking you to let me be your representative. I think it's time that we put our oomph behind somebody who can win this thing. It's not going to be easy. They've coronated Aaron Flint. They've already got $1 million PAC behind him. He's about as vile as they come. We've got to offer an affirmative vision, but it's going to have to be a really, really, really tough campaign. This is not going to be easy. I want you to know I will campaign as hard as anybody's ever campaigned. My family's Republican. I work in a Republican industry. I live in a Republican area. These are my people, and I'll go talk to them, and we're going to win them back because we have the sort of shared experience that we have to fix. But we have to win this thing, and I would love your vote. I would love your support. I want you to know I'm going to represent every one of you. And the difference between us four up here and some of the other folks who are on the other side is we're proud to represent everybody in this state, even if they don't vote for us. That's the kind of representative I want to be. I want to make this place better. I'd love for you to go to busseformontana.com, follow us on social media, volunteer, do whatever you can, throw your weight behind it, and let's campaign and run this thing like we mean it, because everything you care about is on the line. And I hope you give me your support.
Thanks a lot, you guys. And Mike, Steve, Ryan, TJ, Micah, Kevin, happy anniversary, guys. 1 year for the Beer Buds.
Yeah, 1 year for the beer bar. We've got a few closing thoughts.
All right, little closing statement. If we have an event tomorrow at O'Shaughnessy Center at 5:30. If you'd like to meet Judge Amy Eddy, come in, running for Montana Supreme Court. And I think a little closing thoughts, and then head it back my way.
Yeah, sounds good. I got some closing thoughts. I mean, boy, little Aaron is in trouble. I mean, you guys are some fine candidates, some of Montana's best, I'm telling you. Look, folks, what these guys are telling you is this is the seat of Pat Williams. This is Max Baucus's first seat. This is Mansfield's seat. This is Metcalf's seat. This is a Democratic seat. Look, we can win this seat back if we actually want to. You know, we got to get Congress that's going to get our economy back on track, and big changes are heading our way. These guys are exactly what we need. One of these guys is going to be the winner. The rest of us are going to support the winner. There's no doubt about it. Lil Aaron is in trouble with these guys. These guys are all going to be in the lobby. I heard Ryan even made lemon bars and all that kind of wonderful stuff. They want to stay out there for hours and chat with you as long as you like, so ask them plenty of personal questions. This is what it's all about, democracy at its best. I'm so proud of you guys, and thank you for showing up.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us for another hour and a half of bullshit. Big thanks to the candidates tonight, Ryan Busse, Russell Cleveland, Matt Raines, and Sam Forstag, and everyone here at the Whitefish Performing Arts Center coming out, proving that politics can still happen without throwing a chair. This week, we'll have Matt Raines joining us in studio and Russell Cleveland next week. And before the season ends, swing the Tamarack Ski Shop and take advantage of the snow. Like, subscribe, and send us some beer money. Until next time, same beer time, same bud channel.